How's everyone doing today? It's your boy JJ Domination, and I am here to record my predictions for the NFL season. It's not really all of my predictions per se. It's really the division winners by 2 wildcard teams per conference, and then I'm going to be discussing some teams that just missed the cut for me. I am recording this on Monday morning. I only have a small window of time to record, not to mention I'm battling with allergies right now, and I have a whole lot of family here, so I'm trying to get this in as soon as possible. But we're going to start off with the AFC, with that conference, and I'm going to give you my 4 division winners. No records, just telling you, hey, they're winning this division. So first we got to start off with the AFC East, and for me, it's pretty simple. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots, with Tom Brady, with Bill Belichick, and a great supporting cast. Mixed in with younger guys and veterans, this team is going to be just fine. The Miami Dolphins, with that Laramie Tunsil and Kenny Stills trade, you can tell they're actively tanking because they have 4 first-round picks, 4 second-round picks, 3 third-round picks, not to mention what they could get in compensatory picks over the next 2 seasons. They're actively tanking. They're going to build that team through the draft and from scratch. So the Patriots, honestly, the only team that I think, in my opinion, have a chance, I'll talk about a little bit later, but it's the Buffalo Bills. Next, we go to the AFC West. This is a very interesting division. 2 teams that definitely could run away with this division. I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I do have the LA Chargers written down on my phone, but I am going to change my mind to the Kansas City Chiefs, I should say. Excuse me. I thought they did a great job of improving their roster. I don't really think they'll be 12-4 again. I don't think Patrick Mahomes has the same crazy season he had. Maybe, not significantly less, but, the stats definitely go down. But hopefully this team, still does good enough to win this division. The Chargers, they just have a lot of issues going on with the whole Melvin Gordon thing. I think they'll be fine, though, at running back. And I also think that they'll be fine overall. But the Chargers just have slow starts and bad luck. And the injury bug looks like it's biting again. With the Kansas City Chiefs, it's really about, can their defense improve and can their offense not get exposed based on the 1 year of tape that's out there. We know Andy Reid's an innovator. We know that this defense definitely got more names on the defense, like Tyrann Mathieu and Frank Clark. I think they'll be improved on that side, and I think Kansas City will continue to keep up what they've been able to do. Now, for the AFC South, this is a very interesting one as well, because this division is totally up for grabs. But I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans. A lot of people picking the Houston Texans, and I'll tell you why I'm not picking the Houston Texans. But I am going to go with the Tennessee Titans. I think they're a more complete team. The only downside is that Taylor Lewan, their left tackle, is going to be missing 4 weeks of the season due to a PED violation, due to a suspension of some sort. Other than that, Marcus Mariota just has to play better. I think this roster has a lot of talent. I think there's pretty much a complete roster around Mariota. He just has to play better, and hopefully the line holds up for the 4 weeks that Taylor Lewan is absent. They're going to be facing some pretty good pass rushes during that time, starting off week 1 against Myles Garrett and Olivier Vernon. So, Tennessee is my pick. The only reason I didn't go with the Houston Texans, despite making a trade to get Laramie Tunsil and Kenny Stills, there's just so much going on right now in that front office. They don't have a general manager, and also I have to see them put it together. Last year they won this division at 11-5. They're a pretty damn good team, but I feel like I need to see them play first. Last year they were very streaky, very hot and cold, despite going 11-5. Remember, they started out 0-3, and they went on a massive streak, and then they got exposed in the playoffs. I'm going to go with Tennessee. I just think they're a complete team. Now for the AFC North, a lot of people are going to disagree, but I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. It came down to them in Pittsburgh, in my opinion, but I am going to go with Baltimore. I know they lost C.J. Mosley. I know they lost Eric Weddle, but they brought in Earl Thomas, and this organization believes in Patrick Nwarser and Kenny Young to be their 2 linebackers. Listen, this is a defense that's had to move on from Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. You don't think they're prepared to move on from C.J. Mosley and Eric Weddle? You must be out of your mind and not know much about football and must be new to the game, because this organization definitely has what it takes to move on and to be in a better situation without some studs at the position. Lamar Jackson in year 2, we'll see what he looks like. We'll see the improvements that he can make. I can't really take a whole lot away from the preseason because they're not really opening up the playbook, but he did look better, much better compared to last year. as a thrower of the football. But this team did add Mark Ingram. They brought in Earl Thomas, like we talked about. I don't know why I'm going up and down for this team in terms of scrolling through the list. But to me, I just think I think the element of surprise will definitely catch some people. And I just feel like they're a pretty damn good team. And they can lean on their defense and have Lamar Jackson be a game manager. Whereas for Pittsburgh, Big Ben's definitely going to have to air it out. And they're going to have to rely on bad cornerback play and suspect secondary play like they have for the last 4 years. So I'll take the safe bet. I'll take Baltimore's defense with a little bit of a risky offense. And, that's it for the AFC in terms of division winners. Now let me give you the wild card teams. The first one I'm going to go with is the LA Chargers. They just have a little bit of bad luck right now. Melvin Gordon holding out. Derwin James on IR. He's going to miss like 3 months of the season due to an injury. This team just has bad luck to start the season. Remember last season they started out pretty rough, missed a couple of game-winning field goals or game-tying field goals, and they caught back up. Yes, they got to the playoffs. Yes, they won their wild card game. But this Chargers team, imagine if they didn't have a slow start. They'd probably have a bye week and probably be playing in the AFC Championship with a totally different game plan or something. But the Chargers are a very complete team, arguably one of the most complete teams in the NFL. They just have talent from head to toe everywhere on this team. And even without Melvin Gordon, I think they're going to be fine on the ground with Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson, And the wide receiving core is solid. The only weakness, in my opinion, is the offensive line. You could be stronger up front, but it's an offensive line that'll at least be able to help you, allow yourselves to do what you do. And then finally, for the second wild card team, the 6th seed, I guess you could say, I am going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh my God, no Cleveland Browns. But I went with Pittsburgh. I can't bet against Mike Tomlin. He's never been below 500 as a head coach. I don't really see that starting now. Big Ben, I'm pretty sure, is going to go out there with something to prove. I mean, he lost Antonio Brown. He didn't have Le'Veon last year, but 2 years ago he had him, and he was arguably the best back in the game. But James Conner and Juju Smith-Schuster, they're going to have increased roles. We'll see how they can handle that pressure, I guess you could say, of being the guy at their respective positions. Their front seven is going to be loaded per usual. I love the draft pick of Devin Bush. Their offensive line still pretty strong despite trading away Marcus Gilbert. They have one of the better offensive line development coaches over there. Same thing with wide receiver. This team's very good at developing positions, except for secondary. They're suspect as hell in the secondary, but if they can get home with their blitzes and their pressures, and Big Ben can continue to dial up some great, plays, we'll see. A player to look out for, though, is James Washington. He balled out in the preseason. He's projected to be this team's number 2 wide receiver across from Juju Smith-Schuster, so we'll probably see Big Ben taking some deep shots to James Washington. So that's it for the AFC. So in conclusion for that conference, I have the New England Patriots, the Kansas City Chiefs, Tennessee Titans, and Baltimore Ravens all winning their divisions, and my wildcard teams are the LA Chargers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now let's move on to the NFC. Starting off with the NFC East, I'm going to have to go with the team who I made a whole video about, the Philadelphia Eagles. In my opinion, they are the team to beat out there in the NFC. They're the most complete team, in my opinion. It's them and the Chargers, but this team is the most complete. They have arguably the best offensive line in football. I like their running back by committee style, not really having a true bell cow, unless Jordan Howard just turns into that this year as their true bell cow running back. They have a great receiving core. I love their tight end room. Carson Wentz, I'm a believer in him. I think he's going to be pretty good this season, arguably an MVP candidate if things go well. And that defense, I love the rotation of pass rushers. And honestly, a position or a group that used to be weak, the secondary, I think will come together this season. Sidney Jones, he hasn't really been healthy. He was a guy that I really liked coming out of Washington, the University of Washington, and he just hasn't been healthy. But man, the glimpses that I've been able to see of him, he does look pretty good, and he looks like he has the potential to be this team's number 2 corner across from Ronald Darby. So maybe that'll be the case. I think the secondary will be improved. I think people will be surprised by that too. But for the NFC East, I got to go with Philadelphia. For the NFC West, man, this was tough. I was debating between two teams, but I eventually went with the Los Angeles Rams. I still feel like they're the top dog. I thought they had a pretty good draft as well. But, man, this is just so tough. This NFC is so tough. I gave the edge to the Rams, and, man, it's tough because they're in a tough division, with Seattle just making a trade for Jadeveon Clowney. And you never really know about San Francisco. They're kind of the dark horse candidate out there in the NFC. But the Rams, pretty balanced team. Their offensive line definitely took a hit. Maybe they have some guys in camp that they're confident in. But remember, this team did lose John Sullivan, and they lost Roger Saffold in free agency. They got a couple of guys that need to get paid soon. Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters being two of them, both cornerbacks. Todd Gurley, of course, the knee thing, it's glooming. How much of a workload can he have? I'll say about 80% of what he was getting. They did draft Darrell Henderson as well. I like his running style. I like this tape as well, so I think he's going to be a good piece in this offense. The receiving core, Cooper Kupp comes back. He's a very vital part of this team. Overall, they're a very complete team. I like what they did in the draft as well. I thought they had some pretty good draft picks made despite not having a first rounder that they traded to Atlanta. So I give the Rams a lot of props there. I think they're going to be the best team in that division. For the NFC South, man, I got to go with the New Orleans Saints. It was pretty close, though. I did consider the Falcons, of course. But I feel like, they have to capitalize on this window with Drew Brees. It's probably going to be his last season in the NFL. Maybe he plays another year. I don't know. But there's a lot of guys that are going to need new contracts soon, and one of them includes Alvin Kamara, Marshawn Lattimore, Ryan Ramczyk. I mean, basically that whole draft class in 2017 that they hit on, they're going to need to pay all those guys pretty soon. It's going to be interesting to see who gets paid, who doesn't, how they split up all the money. But this is a damn good team. The secondary took a step back last season. I think with a better pass rush, they could improve. But we'll have to see. I'm not the biggest fan of their pass rush outside of the two guys they have in Cam Jordan and Sheldon Rankins, who Sheldon Rankins plays on the inside. Davenport, we'll see what he does. Marcus Davenport in his third season, I'm pretty sure. But, hey, we'll see. I think the Saints will be the team to beat. I know some people are predicting them not to be a playoff team, and I can understand why. Believe me, it makes sense. Natural regression, like I do have with another team. But I just think the Saints are too good not to miss the playoffs. And finally, this is going to seem like a homer pick, but I am going with Green Bay for the NFC North. There's not a team in that division who made more significant upgrades than Green Bay. I don't really feel like I need to go into detail. You guys know who we got and what we did in the draft. But I feel like this is the year that we kind of get our division back. I don't know about Super Bowl or none of that stuff, but I think this is the year we can at least lock up a playoff spot. And I think with this division being up for grabs still, even despite what the Chicago Bears did, I think it's going to be up for grabs for all of these teams. I think the worst team in this division is going to go 7-9. I mean, that's how good this division is, but I am going to give the edge to the Green Bay Packers, my team. And then for the wild card teams in the NFC, this is tough. It really is, because my mind keeps changing about this. So let me just get it out now. One of the wildcard teams that I have, it's going to be the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, they just made a trade to get Jadeveon Clowney. That's a big deal, and that's enough to push them over the edge for a team that, could be a playoff team. They got Jadeveon Clowney. We'll see what he looks like as the main pass rusher. Hopefully he can channel his South Carolina days and just dominate. But we've seen him play next to J.J. Watt. A lot of the criticism for him is he's never had a double-digit sack season, which, yes, is true, but he's always an elite pressure artist, a game changer, a game wrecker, an elite run defender as well for his position. But he's going to be going back to his natural college position, which is defensive end in the 4-3 scheme, and I think he's going to be pretty damn good with Pete Carroll. This is basically their version of Michael Bennett. He's going to be lining up inside and out. They also have Ziggy Ansah that they brought in. They're going to be missing Jaron Reed for a while, but I'm pretty sure you could rotate different guys in there. Maybe you put LJ Collier inside for some snaps. Like, there's different things you could do there. Their front seven's loaded. Their secondary, I think, is serviceable. Like, it's a serviceable secondary. Russell Wilson, though, I hope he continues to air it out. He's got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. I know the identity of the team is to run the ball with Chris Carson, and let Russell Wilson win you the game and not lose it, but I want to see Russell Wilson rip it a few times. On a new contract, I'd love to see him just go ham out there. And then the second wildcard team, this is tough. It's tough, but I went with the Atlanta Falcons. When healthy, they're one of the 7 most talented teams in the NFL. I don't think it's that big of a reach. I mean, Matt Ryan played like an MVP last year statistically, but obviously this team was 7-9 and not 13-3. Julio, he's going to continue to do Julio things, but this team does get Deion Jones back. One of my greatest draft calls in my history of covering the game. Him and another guy, Grady Jarrett, 2 of my greatest draft calls. But enough bragging on myself. I think this team, when fully healthy, is capable of at least being a playoff team. In terms of Super Bowl aspirations, that's tough. The NFC is tough as hell, and I don't think they're quite there yet. My only concern about the Falcons is their run defense and how all the new pieces on the offensive line will click. It's kind of a big deal because you want to dominate the line of scrimmage, and if you're not doing that, you're getting dominated. So it is what it is, but hopefully skill position wise, this team is pretty good. The best trio of wide receivers, arguably, outside of maybe the Rams. This team definitely has the best trio of receivers. I like Devontae Freeman a lot. I think this is the year he comes back and reminds people how good he is. My boy Isaiah Oliver, I got to meet him. He's going to be a starter this year. Very excited for him. Now let's talk about some of the teams that missed out. So 3 AFC teams that missed out for me. I'm going to kind of talk about them in unison, but one of them was the Cleveland Browns. Another one of them was the Houston Texans, and then the third one was the Buffalo Bills. So the reason I did not give the Browns the edge, I get it, they have a very talented roster, but something that I've said on this channel quite a few times already is that the NFL is not a talent show, it's a results league, and I can't give the edge to this team just yet in terms of being like that team that, you know, ends up just stunning everyone, going 12-4. Like, you got to win games. The Browns were a bad road team. They only won one game with Baker Mayfield outside of Cleveland, and it was in Denver, and it was by 1 point. So this team has to win road games. At home, they were pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Especially considering where they were the year before with an 0-16 record with Deshaun Kaiser as their starting quarterback. So, you know, kudos to Cleveland. They're a very talented team. They just got to show me they can win games. And week 1 against Tennessee is not going to be some easy matchup. For the Houston Texans, I kind of talked about them a little bit. To me, there's just too much going on. I still have concerns about their offensive line despite getting Laremy Tunsil. One guy isn't going to change that for me. You know, their defense, no Jadeveon Clowney, who steps up in that spot. We'll have to see how the secondary plays together. It's completely different from last year. Also, who's their tight end? Who's their safety valve over the middle for 3rd and 5? I'll give you a hint. It's Darren Fells, whatever his name is. Darren Fells, and he's like in his mid-30s. So, yeah, that's your tight end. And then finally, the Buffalo Bills. I think they're going to have a dominant defense. I think they're going to be much improved as a team. But in terms of their record, they might only improve 1 game to like 8-8. But I think they'll be a fun 8-8 team to watch. And I think they're going to end up being a pretty damn, you know, physical, competitive team. I think they're going to play the tough teams, you know, hard. And I think against those bad teams, they might lay an egg. You know, they feel like one of those teams to me. Now for the NFC's 3 teams that missed out. One of them definitely is the Chicago Bears. Another one is the Dallas Cowboys. And then the third one is the 49ers. Now, I could have put more teams on all of these lists. Obviously, you didn't hear the New York Jets in there at all. And for the NFC, you didn't hear the Minnesota Vikings at all. But the Bears, I feel like there's just going to be natural regression. Yes, their defense is still going to be good, but they did lose some key starters. They did lose Vic Fangio as their play caller, as their signal caller, as the brains behind that number one defense. And plus, give me the last time that a number one defense repeated as a number one defense, even with the same staff and same people. Never. Or maybe it has happened, but it hasn't happened in a very long time. I can't even tell you when it's happened. But bottom line is, if you really think Chicago's going to repeat as the number one defense, it's very unlikely. I'm not going to call you crazy because it could happen, but very unlikely. And plus, this team is going to have to lean more on Mitchell Trubisky, and I just don't think he's that good of a quarterback. Now, yes, is he capable of making some throws? Yeah, I would hope so. If you're an NFL starting quarterback, I would hope you can make some of those throws, but he's just not that good. That's the reality of it. The Dallas Cowboys, man, I had them as a wild card team up until this weekend when that Jadeveon Clowney stuff went down, and I was like, I got to put Seattle back in there. But, man, Dallas is a very talented team. Again, talent doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It's not a talent show. It's a results league. No Ezekiel Elliott. For now, maybe they get him back, but even when they get him back, I still feel like it's going to be tough. Maybe they jump the Falcons or Seattle and get into the wild card. Maybe Philadelphia just falls off a cliff, and they're the team that ends up doing good. I know some people are breaking down their schedules. Some people saying it's easy. Some people saying it's difficult. I think it's difficult, man. You really, like, you would think being able to play the Giants, Redskins, and Dolphins in the first 3 weeks, you would think you walk out of there 3-0 and probably blow all those teams out. Washington can beat anybody on any given day. Miami, that could be the ultimate trap game. And for the Giants, I mean, that's, again, a division rival. You can't really just say you're going to walk in there and pounce on them. And then after that, I'm pretty sure you play Green Bay and New Orleans. Those are two teams that are going to be tough to beat. And then later on, late November, early December, I mean, you played Buffalo on Thanksgiving. You think Buffalo's going to be an easy matchup? No. You play New England, you play Chicago, you play the Rams. You think those are going to be easy matchups? I don't think so. So I think it's just going to be tough for them on paper. Maybe things happen throughout the season that make it easier, I guess. But for Dallas, man, it's just hard, man. It's hard because only 6 teams can get in. There's probably 11 or 12 teams that deserve it. And then for San Francisco, I just feel like it's not their year. I don't think it's their year. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say this team will be a playoff team or even win their division like some people are claiming. To me, they're just not there yet. Maybe in another year or so, but they just need to continue to gel and improve. And that's all I can really say about San Francisco. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, man, with these predictions or whatever. I'll be doing award predictions too, maybe after week 1. I know that seems kind of fishy, but whatever happens in week 1 is not going to influence my prediction because anything can happen in week 1. Last year we saw Ryan Fitzpatrick beat the New Orleans Saints basically by himself, 48-40. So anything can happen, but hopefully you guys have enjoyed, man. Let me know down below. Do you agree with my predictions? Do you think I'm stupid for thinking that the Ravens will win their division? I don't know, man, but let me know down in the comments section below, and peace out.